We're watching here is President Trump's. He's already on the plane. They're leaving China this morning. Or they already have left from China. But I didn't see this on channel 4, 5, 7, or 11 this morning. So we're going to put it up so you guys can enjoy it. Like the pump and circus that the Chinese put on today. So if I were to have President Trump's ear this morning, I would ask him, is the Chinese food better in China, or is it better here? So, Cliff, whenever you're ready, just let me know and I'll put you in. Did you say you're ready?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host, and we have our producer, John McDonough. And as John said, the president's winging his way back. We hope to have guests a little later in the hour. The national debt's $39.24 plus trillion. Up and up. Low today of 48, high of 55, cloudy, but a good weekend. So in 1536, Anne Boleyn, Queen of England, stood trial in London on charges of treason, adultery, and incest, condemned to death by a specially selected jury. Not good for Anne Boleyn.
What year was this?
1536.
Wow.
So, after Columbus discovered the New World, but before...
Eileen Delrossi.
Hello, Eileen.
Good morning, Cliff.
We were just talking about Anne Boleyn, who...
She liked to
She
fool
got her
around.
head chopped off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did she get her head chopped off?
She liked to fool around too much.
Treason, adultery, and incest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But wait, wasn't the king like her brother or something?
No, I don't think so.
No.
We don't have any
All right.
details, just it was a good story.
So how are things up in Christian Hill, Eileen?
They're nice and sunny.
Well, good. So in 1817, opening of the first private mental health hospital in the United States, the Asylum for the Relief of Persons Deprived of the Use of their Reason, now Friends Hospital in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 1864, the Battle of New Market in Virginia. Students from the Virginia Military Institute, VMI, sometimes referred to as Virginia's Marching Idiots, fight alongside the Confederate Army to force the Union General Francis Sigel out of the Shenandoah Valley. 1891, Pope Leo XIII defends workers' rights and property rights in the encyclical Rerum Novarum, the beginning of modern Catholic social teaching. Yeah, I think Rerum Novarum is very important. And this is especially for you, Eileen. 1905, the city of Lost Wages is founded in Nevada. Didn't you go?
1905?
Yeah. That's pretty recent.
Yeah. They built it up so much. I actually just watched Casino with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, and it's interesting to see like what really made Vegas and like what Vegas is now.
Well, it's 125 years ago.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, John?
It's 125 years ago.
Yeah.
Wasn't just like yesterday.
True. But it's more recent than most places that were found.
Yeah. Older than Boston, Los Angeles. So 1940, Richard and Maurice McDonald opened the first McDonald's restaurant. McDonald's is older than I am. 1941, first flight of the Gloucester E-28-39, the first British and Allied jet aircraft. In 1942, in the United States, a bill was passed creating the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, the WAC. So, there we go. 1948, following the expiration of the British mandate for Palestine, the Kingdom of Egypt, Transjordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia invaded Israel, thus starting the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. In 1963, Project Mercury, the launch of the first Mercury mission, Mercury Atlas 9, with astronaut Gordon Cooper on board. He becomes the first American to spend more than a day in space and the last American to go into space alone. 1936, birth of Anna Maria Alberghetti. Does anybody know that name besides me?
I remember the name from commercials.
Oh.
Makeup or something like that. Maybe she did Italian food.
This is the feast day of Isidore the Laborer.
Well, who was she, Cliff?
She was an actress and singer.
Anna Marie Alberghetti.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good voice, I thought. Anyway, feast day of Isidore the Laborer, celebrated in various countries, and it's the official beginning of bullfighting season in Madrid. And today is International Conscientious Objectors Day and the International Day of Families. And, of course, the most important thing, Karen Reed's car was to be auctioned yesterday. How'd that go, Eileen?
It was actually canceled because of low turnout, and apparently it was supposed to be auctioned off in Woburn, and then I guess they ended up going through a private sale.
He got a better offer on the private sale. That's what was reported on one of the TV stations anyway.
Yeah.
I couldn't really hear John. What did he say?
He said one of the TV stations reported that the owner got a better deal privately.
Yeah, and the car is auctioned to $50,000 to $60,000. Not auctioned; it's valued at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Karen Reed still has a couple of lawsuits going, right?
Yeah, the civil lawsuit she's in deep with right now. It's a hot mess.
It is.
This whole state is a hot mess with like the way that they go after certain people, and allow other people to as well.
Yep. So, the president seemed to have a good trip to China. Was that your take, John?
Yeah, he had a good time. Good receptions. Very impressive. Chinese love the guy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if they really buy more soybeans.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. The people that showed up, and I got one comment from the audience, look how skinny the Chinese people are. I'll put that up. I'm going to get caught up over here.
Okay. And in the category of judicial reform, I was a little confused. In Virginia, the Democrats denounced the Supreme Court after the Louisiana apportionment ruling, and then the Virginia government appeals a reapportionment ruling from the state Supreme Court to the U.S. Supreme Court. So why are they bothering if the U.S. Supreme Court is such a problem? I'm not sure I understand. But what worries me is the House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, proposes a nationwide radical takeover of the courts if the Democrats gain power. Quote, we're going to have to explore judicial reform state by state and at the federal level. Everything should be on the table as far as I'm concerned. The president's rolling, taxiing, to be fair. So I'm not sure what the Democrats looking on packing the court. In Virginia, someone introduced a rule changing the mandatory retirement for state Supreme Court justices from 74 to 54. If it was 54, that would force all the sitting justices to retire, and they could replace them. It just seems like, to quote Eileen Delrossi, a hot mess.
Well, the Democrats are sore losers, and they just never let go. They never let go last time. They did. They just continue to resist and crybaby, and they are a bunch of crybabies. And even my Democratic friends will agree, this is ridiculous.
I was a little surprised that they did a poll and Marco Rubio beat out J.D. Vance by double digits in a 2028 primary showdown. The survey was conducted May 4th to 7th and sampled 2,000 American adults. 45.4% of Republican respondents now identify Secretary of State Marco Rubio as their preferred choice to carry the GOP banner 2 years from now. Vice President J.D. Vance, who previously was in front, finished second at 29.6, followed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at 11.2%. Well, three good candidates.
What makes them good? Just that they're Republicans or something?
No, I think that they come across as intelligent, as effective, having reasonable opinions.
Having watched Vance's movie to see how he came up, he grew up as a poor kid with a not so shining leadership in his family, and he's made it to what he has today. Vice President of the United States. Fantastic background. I admire the guy.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about him. I don't know anything about Marco Rubio, and who's the other guy you're talking about?
Ron DeSantis, the governor down in Florida.
Okay.
Eileen, what do you think about that?
I missed the first part of what you said. I heard the three people, Rubio, J.D. Vance, and
Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis. But what was the first part of that?
Yeah, well, Marco Rubio seems to be the front runner in a poll earlier this month for the 2028 nomination. Who's your preferred person right now as the Republican candidate?
I would go with J.D. Vance because, I mean, I'm not sure on Marco Rubio's history. I know he holds office with Trump right now, right? What is his role?
He's the Secretary of State.
Secretary of State. I think I'd rather take the Vice President over Secretary of State because they're very different roles, and you understand what it's like to be a Vice President and with the President, and they work well together, and I think he can take away some key things from Trump. Not everything, but I think he's even-keeled, and he did come up from a very tough upbringing, and he persevered. I think people need to see that, and that you can have problems, but you can persevere, and you can be successful. I think that's important.
Yeah, in my mind, that is the American story. Everyone can pull themselves up by their bootstraps and do well. So,
Do you think we're going to actually see the plane take off? Pretty foggy there.
yeah. So, the war in Ukraine, Russia seems to be pelting Ukraine with a lot of drones, but I get the impression that Russia isn't making a lot of progress on the ground. That
Yesterday, Russia droned downtown Kiev and created a lot of destruction in downtown Kiev yesterday.
yeah,
Yep.
but they didn't move the.
All you know is, quite frankly, the same as me, Cliff, what the media reports. Do you think the Russian media is reporting that they're losing?
Well, I don't think so. No. But I do tend to sample some alternative sources.
This has got 3 minutes to go, so we must going to see something. And again, this is President Trump departs China earlier today. They're 12 hours ahead of us, so right now over there it's 6 p.m. 6:19 p.m. in Beijing. Long time a-coming.
So I don't think Russia may be able to pound the cities with drones, but I don't think Russia is moving that well towards victory. I still think it's Russia's to lose.
Well, like us, Russia lost in Afghanistan. We lost in Afghanistan. Russia's going to lose in Kiev. They're going to lose this time because you can't kick people out of their own country.
Yeah.
The woman I talked to up at the mall, her dad lives in the Ukraine, and she wants him to come here because it's too dangerous. And he says, no, I'm sitting right here with my shotgun waiting for the Russians. And he was in his early 80s.
Yeah. Well, there is a bit of a defiant attitude there.
Well, if the same thing happened here, where would you go?
There's no place to go.
So you get your shotgun, you sit by your window and wait for the Russians.
Yeah.
They're looking for the plane now. Where the hell is the plane? And I'm sure they're listening to the air traffic controllers in the tower.
Well, am I hearing road noise outside, or am I hearing a little bit of volume from the video?
You're hearing road noise. The volume's toned down on this video. Because I don't know what they're saying. Sometimes they use vernacular that's not... they use street talk instead of American talk or family talk.
So, the other big deal is the war in Iran.
Got 54 seconds. Go ahead, Cliff.
I don't know if President Trump is going to get some help from China on this, but...
Well, President Xi promised to help out. Just let him know what needs to get done. That's what I heard in the news.
I think that the president is doing the right thing right now.
Yep. We never saw the plane take off. He must have slipped by. Sorry, kids.
For us, success is the people of, in my mind, the people of Iran rising up and displacing the current regime, agreeing to stop nuclear weapon development and toning down the terrorism. How do you see it, Eileen?
I agree, Cliff.
Oh, there we are. New York City, yesterday was their, the 12th was their kickoff for the budget. And Mayor Mahoney and New York State Governor Kathy Hochul worked together, and they announced another $4 billion in financial assistance, which increases it to $8 billion over the next 2 years.
I'm going to blast through these texts, Cliff.
All right.
Good morning. Look at how thin and in shape the Chinese citizens are compared to the American citizens. Why is that? I don't see it that way, Jay. I think if our military was honoring President Xi, they'd look just as sharp. The banner that Democrats will be holding in the next 2 years will say, impeach, resist, get ready. Next text, very underrated dish, chicken Kiev. And the last one from Jay is Russia-Ukrainian war is not important anymore. The distinguished media moved on. The disgusting media moved on. Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
You can just text him, and the phone number's down there on the screen if you want to text him anything.
So, Mayor Mahoney says, today we are fulfilling the promise to make free universal child care a reality, making significant investments in education, public safety, and infrastructure while providing the city the resources they need to continue to fund critical services for New Yorkers. Mayor Mahoney is focused on reducing costs in order to restore fiscal transparency. The mayor ordered government agencies to appoint a chief savings officer, which resulted in $1.77 billion in savings.
So their solution is to hire more help to study this.
Yeah.
See, I say the government's only hope to reducing its cost is to, as an employee retires, you have to justify that you really need that position and don't fill it. We have to downsize government. Government's just too big. It can't afford itself. It's not going to be able to afford its pension, and the pension will go bankrupt. And I found out yesterday that my friends who used to work for City of Lowell moved to New Hampshire because there's no tax on their retirement in New Hampshire. So you get a 7% increase in your pay. Pretty cool.
So you're happy that the city manager is going to cut 50 slots out of the budget, 50 personnel slots, and let another 87 go by attrition?
I don't know how you got that angle from me. I said when someone retires, I'm not going to fire you and send you home, but when you retire, we're going to justify, do we really need to fill Cliff's seat? Is it time we take a look at it and give those duties to somebody else who has room on their workspace?
Well, from the article that Mahoney wrote, I got the impression that I think the number is 87.
They're going to lay those people off.
No, they're going to lay off 50 and let 87 disappear through attrition.
Yeah, through their retirement and so forth. But I've heard controversy over the ones that are being let go. Like there's no set formula really to saying goodbye to them or telling them to they have to move on, and some people are staying while others aren't, and then there's veteran status and so forth. There's a lot. I think a lot of it was spoken about at the city council meeting, and I'm going to go back and watch it so I can speak more articulately on it. But yeah, I guess it's just Lowell being Lowell.
Yeah.
Well, the folks that talk to me and say, don't say you heard it from me, the employees that are affected already know they're losing their job, and they've known it for about a week.
The people who are affected, what?
The employees that are losing their jobs, those individuals already know. Comment from the audience. Government will never decrease as long as the public officials keep raising taxes on its citizen. When was the last time an elected official talked about reducing taxes? Jay, we live in a poor city. We have a city manager that will not live within his means. He needs to be let go. End of story.
Well, you do grant him that he is reducing the workforce, right?
Cliff?
Yeah.
The guy does not live within his means. He hasn't lived within his means for the last 3 or 4 years, however long he's been here. Spends money like a drunken sailor. Gives huge raises to some people and zippity-doo-dah to others. It's time we say, Tom, we've had enough. Downtown is clearing out of all the businesses. Hafner's just left. Oh, my mic. I have to touch my back. Back to you, Cliff.
Okay. So anyway, I did think something that didn't get much news play. Apparently the Trump administration has found 129,000 missing children in 2025. That's a lot of kids that went astray, who were probably abducted, put into child labor, forced child labor, maybe forced child sex
In
labor.
the USA?
In the USA.
All made up. You have birth certificates for these kids? Or did their mothers just say they had them to increase their welfare check?
No, these are children that were found to be separated from their parents, and
Did anybody physically see these kids?
yeah.
Okay. Then I believe you. So, backing up to the city manager, Cliff, you think just because he appoints you, you think he's a pristine guy, or does the appointment have anything to do with you?
Well, I was appointed a long time ago.
I understand, but you're probably up for reappointment.
Yeah?
And is that why he's a pristine guy?
No, I think that he's struggling. But,
Do you think Paul Cohen's struggling? Retiring Paul, we got a guy that's on the ball in Chelmsford, and we have a guy that doesn't even know how to play the ball in Lowell. Downtown's drying up, and if people say, "Oh, half this," they closed because it was just time. They did a land office business for gasoline there. I used to buy gasoline for my wife's car down there, my sister-in-law's car. And there was always a ton of cars down there when I went down there. So I don't think it was lack of sales. I think it was harassment from the homeless. Because it wasn't too many times where you had somebody who was down on their luck walk up to you when you're pumping gas, get a couple of bucks.
I don't think I've ever...
I was thinking of this week because I think of like when I come home with Anthony and we count the homeless drug people, and it's sad that we do that. And you know, it seems like we're the nonprofit mecca of the state, and it's like it's not working, but everybody's getting money.
Well, when you look at Cobblestones, I don't know what they're doing business-wise, but it's not going too well for them down there. And a lot of vacant storefronts in downtown Lowell. And the city councilor just looks the other way. They drive a different way to council meetings so they don't notice it.
Well, that is a problem. And as Jack Mitchell likes to say, poverty is big business in Lowell.
George Anthes invented that
Oh, okay.
term. May he rest in peace.
Yes, we have not figured out how to turn the city around. And it's a problem.
Well, that's an issue because it's gotten worse. In my eyes, that issue has gotten worse with this administration. And I also think, but then again, we're going to become, thank you, YouTube. Then again, we're going to become a front-runner city internationally, but we have all of these issues. So it's like these deflectors. Look over here. Don't look at the South Common. Don't look at that. But look at, we're in Canada. We're going to make Lowell better. But it's all, you know, I come from a point of frustration raising a child here. And I never had to see all of this stuff being, like, growing up here. And my parents didn't. Why now? Why is this the place right now that it's almost asking you to come to Lowell, get addicted, and go through the cycle for people with addiction so that Lowell can keep getting the funding, but it's not really solving the problem. It's going in different ways. Well,
the way I look at it is the manager's doing a terrible job, and he don't care. You're going to pay more money for the luxury of having a buffoon run your government. You're going to pay more money. Two texts from Jay. Grand Slam, Conrad, and when you bring up the business leaving downtown area, the city councils all say snarky things and have no solutions. Good point. Councilor McDonough had no answers as to why they are leaving. That's true. He said he was going to call I called Hafner's. They never called me back, so I don't think we're going to get a solution. And I know Melanie did an article on on Hafner's, but they didn't give her a good answer
So
through email. Here's Dennis.
we,
Morning, Dennis.
morning.
Perfect. How about you?
So, Eileen, what's this about Lowell and Cork in Ireland signing a Learning Cities Pact?
I have no clue. Is that happening?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard anything about it. I'm on the school committee.
Well, we're all going to learn to sing When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. That's
Come on over, Dennis.
That's going to be our pact. When Irish eyes are smiling. That's going to be what we're going to learn.
Where did you see this?
I saw this in the Lowell Sun.
Oh, you think they'd be happy about that and let us know.
Dennis, if you want a coffee, feel free.
No, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I would think that, maybe this is because of the superintendent's nation of origin. Maybe he ran a deal, but
Oh, yeah, making it like one of the sister cities or something like that to make his legacy.
It's just fog and smoke in the mirror.
Yeah.
Coming from the audience, why does Lowell have 3 assistant city managers? One is making 177, another one's making 128. The other person's making 113. I don't know. Tommy likes to hire a lot of help. He needs a lot of help because he doesn't know what he's doing. Thank you, Dennis. They blame the mall's traffic patterns, homeless students at the high school. At the end of the day, it falls on the city council. You're right, it does. Back to you, Cliff.
so we have with us Dennis Galvin, retired from the state police, and he is you have an official position in Maple, don't you?
Yes, I'm the president.
Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, how are you?
Living my best life ever.
Well,
How about you?
You're down in Westford, right?
Well, it was only a long-term sub position, so it ended at the end of April. So
Oh, okay.
I'm a free agent right now.
Oh, good for you. It's good to be free.
Thanks.
So, Maple stands for what? Massachusetts Association of Police and
Professional Law Enforcement, Massachusetts Association for Professional Law Enforcement.
okie doke. Speaking of which, at the top of the hour we were talking about Karen Reed. They were supposed to auction her car off yesterday, and at the last minute they canceled the auction because the owner got a better deal. But there's still several lawsuits going on with that.
No, that'll go on for years. That issue's gonna go on for years.
Right, and has your agency, has
Dennis,
the
turn your
post
mic on, just
been
this button there, just
involved
hold it
with a
down
lot
for
of
3
it,
seconds.
with everything that's coming out now?
I'm sorry, I was in some technical adjustments. Can you repeat that question, please?
Yeah, I heard, there's a couple of different officers that were kind of affected or intertwined with the whole Karen Reed thing. And I think I heard the Post Commission a couple of times in terms of that. So I feel like you guys are seeing a lot of the fallout from all of that and seeing what happened.
Yeah, well, it's an unfortunate incident, but you're absolutely right. The Post Commission will probably engage and examine the certifications of the officers involved, and I would not want to be in their position.
I sent you a text. You have your phone today?
I do have my phone.
Check your text.
Okay.
Okie doke. Well, with Dennis here, I thought I'd bring up the Southern Poverty Law Center was indicted by a grand jury. When they started decades ago, I thought, well, this is a great thing. But they have fallen into a hole. And it turns out the SPLC, as they're called, was funding the Ku Klux Klan. They were supposed to be against the KKK. And they're funding other groups to conduct demonstrations like the Charlottesville, Virginia demonstration where a woman was killed by accident. So it turns out U.S. aid funneled $27 million through the Tide Center, with some of it going directly to the Southern Poverty Law Center. So this doesn't seem like a good thing to me.
Well, the Southern Poverty Law Center, anybody who's been watching politics over the last few years, has positioned themselves in a spot where they were the sort of the definitive source for who's an extremist and who isn't. I think their activities probably mirror a true subversive organization, which is basically the attempt to try to pit opposing sides of a community, of any community or a nation against one another. I think they did that pretty well. I think that the proof is there, and I think this is also following upon a disclosure much further back, in which the director of that Poverty Law Center, he came into disrepute as a result of padding his own pockets and also bribing people and things like that. So I think it's just justice catching up to them, and it's the thing about extremist organizations, whether they be left or right, is that they eventually eat themselves up, and I think this is an example of that. I think they were an extremist organization. They were here to foment disruption within the country. They succeeded, I think, in pretty much doing that. But the question is why and who is really supporting them, I think, is a concern.
Yeah. They surfaced at a time when we needed to look at racial oppression in the United States. And then, in my mind, the situation was improving, and then it started to get worse. And the Southern Poverty Law Center was part of that getting worse.
I think they referred to people like them as race pimps, as I recall. These are people who try to make their living off of pushing. Who try to, they find a wound and then they just keep opening it up so that they can make hay out of it.
Yep. Well, part of that, in my mind, goes back to LBJ and
sad times. Yes, very sad times.
Why didn't they ever report that LBJ did press conferences in the Oval Office while he was naked?
He was a disturbed individual. That's a dark period in American history. That whole period, I think.
You aren't kidding, man, and it just continues through today.
Well, they review there's the plane of causation and the plane of effects, right? We're living in the plane of effects. Johnson he was on the plane of causation. He set this whole thing up. The war on poverty.
As he sat in the Oval Office naked talking to the press, who said nothing about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Does that surprise you? Does that really surprise you, to tell you, the press down there? The press, those reporters who have been objective don't last long.
Well, if you either kowtow or they were, even when I was down in D.C. a lot, it was George Bush was the president, the kid, and they would tell me, if you don't behave, they will take your White House credentials and you will never see that room
That's
again.
right. Yeah, they got leverage over you.
But apparently Cliff knew that LBJ was naked all the time. I didn't know that until I read it in a book in this century.
I think there was some reference in the same book he did that he was very fascinated with his own genitalia. So I mean that's one of the things that are his legacy. So
Dennis, aren't we all? But still, it's a private situation.
some people more than others.
It's a private situation.
There's degrees, John.
I mean, to sit there and say that the President of the United States would sit naked in the Oval Office and hold a press conference, and no one said it. No one told him the Emperor has no clothes.
Yeah. Sad times.
That's not as bad as also holding press conferences while sitting on the throne.
Who did that?
OBJ.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that reported?
Well, I don't know. I knew about it.
Well, you were an insider in the Air Force, big shot. Pentagon.
No, not a big shot.
Pentagon.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, did you go to the late great trooper trainer's funeral?
I did not go, but I wish to extend his my condolences, and personal condolences to him. He gave himself up. He gave his life up and tried to prevent people from getting hurt. So
watched it on TV. Very impressive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that situation and the one on Memorial Drive are great examples, and it's too bad it has to be in tragedy, but that there still are very dedicated state police officers, as all police officers out there, who are doing their jobs with very little support and very little the tools that they need are not always provided for them, and they take a lot of public abuse, which is being generated by our media and everything else. And I just think it's time for us to, at this particular point, to take a time for decent people. I mean, there are decent people and there are not decent people, but for decent people to pause, maybe offer a prayer for these individuals. I mean, the officer down in the trooper in Memorial Drive, he interdicted a mass shooter, a complete nut, right? Who was released by our own system out in the street with an automatic weapon that he was
teamed up with a civilian retired Marine.
Yeah, God bless him. God bless him. Need more of that.
They just shot his extremities. It was deliberacy of just shooting his extremities.
I heard he even showed his rifle during a virtual probation appointment, and nothing was done about it.
Well, somebody should be held accountable for that. But that's a typical thing with this administration a little bit. So I mean, wasn't there an individual in the office that was running the office in Springfield that was tied to a major drug network, right? So
yes.
So this is sort of par for the course.
Yeah. So
I mean, on Route 3, it's thank you, Trooper Kevin Trainer. Like always, like anywhere that lights up, it's all Trooper Kevin Trainer, which I thought was impressive for our state government to do. But it's also a reflection of the state government to look at themselves and their leniency on the criminal justice system.
You would hope, wouldn't you? I mean, it would seem logical to do that, wouldn't it?
well,
Dennis, before we move too far on the head-on, he was driving a silver Tahoe. The trooper was driving a silver Tahoe, and they had his own cruiser at in front of the barracks. So, was there any talk to why he was driving the Tahoe?
I have no idea. I mean, it was obviously a police cruiser. It wasn't his personal car. I don't believe. He must have been. A
lot of these guys have lights. They put lights on their own.
Yeah, but they won't use their personal car on a detail. It's usually a assigned vehicle.
Okay, so
It was just an unmarked. That's all.
So we'll get back to this, but I wanted to wrap up with the President Biden's library. They need money, so all of you supporters of President Biden
oh shucks.
need to.
Will it be as ugly as President Obama's library?
I don't think that's possible, is it?
Here's a good question from how come the media is not blaming the gun for what happened on Memorial Drive?
Good question. You know? Well, I think there are events that occur that are so outrageous that even the worst radical has to keep his mouth shut. And I think that was one of them.
Yeah, well, the guy has already been shot, and he's still peppering bullets out of his I would call it a machine gun, but yeah, that's wrong. I don't care.
No, that's a machine gun.
Don't call it a freaking long gun. That was an automatic rifle.
Yes, it was.
And my gun friends are arguing with me about it, but it's my take. You have your take. Until you actually have it in your hand, you can examine it. You don't know what the hell he had. To me, it looked like a machine gun.
Yep. Well, I want to take a little deviation to get Dennis's opinion on former FBI Director James Comey and his famous photo of the seashells spelling out 8647. I mean, I think it'd be hard to visualize him not understanding what that said.
Well, he was another dark chapter in American justice. He's a nefarious individual who was obviously using his position for his own personal gain and connections. He deserves. I mean, all I can say about Comey is he deserves to be prosecuted. That's probably one of the most critical positions of public trust in the United States. The FBI director. I mean, everything is on the shoulder of the FBI director. Internal organized crime, espionage from the outside, terrorism, all devolves to that position. And it is absolutely critical that the person who serves in that position have the utmost public trust. Comey was a disgrace, and whatever happens to him is, I'm not gonna cry and shed any tears for him. He was a disgrace.
Well, Cliff, wouldn't you agree that if you say that you want to take out the President of the United States, and you say that on the telephone, you're going to get a visit from the FBI that's listening to your telephone as a commoner. And
Yeah.
So what Comey did with a bunch of seashells, I think that deserved a visit from the FBI.
Well, it's much deeper than that. I mean, you got to stop and think about this for a moment. I've gone through the Russian hoax investigation pretty well, including Mueller. And I mean, this whole thing was begun, and I think there was some British connection to it as well. Steele was an MI6 agent. He claimed he was a former agent. I don't believe anybody's a former agent anywhere. I says, once you're in, you're in. It's the same thing as the mob. Once you're in, you're in. He orchestrated it in collusion with Hillary Clinton, who was another character that her greatest hero she was reported, I think it was in one of her books, she said that she admired Frank Nitti for the way that he handled business in Chicago following the downfall of Al Capone. I mean, these are gangster mentalities that were involved in our government and tried to literally overthrow our president. And I think Brennan is another one. Brennan at one point voted communist, and then, I mean, how did these people even get into these positions? Right, and it's endemic of the type of administration that Joe Biden basically offered. So I think justice has been delayed, but justice will not be denied, and I hope it proceeds.
Yeah. In my mind, Comey comes across as a pretty arrogant person.
Very. Ultimate arrogant.
Well, there are a lot of people in state, local, and federal government that is just as bureaucratically cruel today. And nobody gets fired for it. You can be rude, crude, and nothing happens to you. It's a disgrace. The unions don't demand excellence in your position. It's pretty sad stuff. 2 comments from the audience.
He's right. I agree with it.
James Comey should be brought up on treason charges.
As all those folks who were involved in the Russian hoax investigation.
Be nice. Be an interesting trial, but like OJ, we knew no one was going to go to jail. The media in Massachusetts are the saddest bunch of groupies you'll ever see. They remind me of the Grateful Dead and their loyal fans. That's for
That's
fun.
good. That's good. The Grateful Dead. It's about that's the best way to describe the population, I guess.
Yeah,
Well, did you see on this morning's news the president leaving China?
Yeah.
I didn't see it on any of the channels.
I listened to him last night.
Well, I listened, but his departure, I didn't see it on any of the newscasts this morning.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do that. I mean, they don't like him, right? They have an interest. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to figure out whose interest they're serving, because they are obviously serving an interest. Anybody that is that corrupted in their alleged journalistic objectivity has to be behind. Somebody's paying them.
I have some friends who work in Boston media, and you're a Democrat or you're gone. You can't be unenrolled. You can't be.
Tell me about it. I ran for office twice as a Republican, and I couldn't even get airspace on the local media here. I had to go get it myself.
Yep, that's
So I mean, it's a corrupt system. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We're about one click, maybe in the same league as East Germany was in 1960. So.
Ooh.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Tell me I'm wrong.
And how? So I can see where Trump's trying to take the. Can you imagine if they took away Channel 5's license to broadcast? The whining that would happen. They wouldn't say a doggone word because they hate each other's guts.
Yeah.
I got put onto a book, which is a couple decades old, but I put it on my Kindle. It's the next book after I finish what I'm on, and it's called Post-Democracy, and supposedly the author talks about the fact that the government now kind of ignores the people. Sort of like the Troika down in Boston, Maura Healey, the Senate President, Karen Spilka, and the Speaker of the House, Mariano. We passed this.
Cliff, while you're processing your response, home run major, and the media are to blame equally for helping Comey's narrative. So what were you saying, Cliff?
We agree.
So we passed this initiative, all of us voting, to audit the government, including the Beacon Hill, and the government's resisting it. So anyway, I thought that there was when you mentioned East Germany, in 1953 there was an uprising, and it was put down, and so somebody, one of the unions came out and said that the people had squandered the confidence of the government, and so Bertolt Brecht wrote.
The people squandered?
Yeah.
Sorry,
The
kids,
people
we gotta go to
squandered.
break. We'll be back.
The
Thanks.
people squandered.
People squandered the confidence of the government, and so Bertolt Brecht wrote.
Midnight in Moscow with Michael Caine, and it was set in St. Petersburg, and I was looking at how drab the entire society was. I mean, the apartment houses looked like crap, everything else, and the cars were all uncapped. mic on?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. It's a happy Friday. Weather is cloudy, but not bad.
Better than
55. Yeah. I'm joined by, I hope to be joined by Eileen Delrossi, who should be coming through the door any minute. And we have Dennis Galvin, retired state police, president of MAPLE, the Massachusetts Association of Professional Law Enforcement. Did I get it close?
You got it. Good job.
And of course, we have our producer, John McDonough. And as we transition from the previous show, I was talking about the uprising. Well, Dennis brought in
Eileen Delrossi.
Jesus, that loud or what?
Eileen. Hang on a second. You what?
My mom couldn't find her phone, so I had to hang up and call it.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, back a long time ago, before John was born, in 1953, there was an uprising in
I was
East
2.
Germany. You what?
I was 2.
Same here.
So Bertolt Brecht wrote a very short poem. If you don't know Bertolt Brecht, yeah, he wrote Mac the
Threepenny Opera,
Knife,
yeah.
the Threepenny Opera. So anyway, he writes, after the uprising of the 17th of June, the secretary of the Writers' Union had leaflets distributed on the Stalin Allee, which stated that the people had squandered the confidence of the government. They could only win it back by redoubled work. And then he continues, would it not, in that case, be simpler for the government to dissolve the people and elect another? And sometimes I think that there are people that would like to dissolve a lot of us and replace us with somebody else.
Well, the sad part about it is, well, first of all, that statement was basically the old saying, beatings will continue until morale improves. That's
Yeah.
exactly what that was. But the situation in East Germany and, well, primarily Poland, Czechoslovakia, Lithuania, those places, those people never asked to be taken over. They were taken over by military force. In some of our sections of this Commonwealth and other places, people seem to accept this just as a voluntary, there's nobody forcing this on them. They've accepted it. And that's even more serious, I think.
Well, Dennis, wouldn't you say, to a strong degree, the whole generation doesn't pay attention to... When I ask the younger generation, hey, where do you watch your local news? They say, I don't.
Yeah.
Where do you see your news? I don't.
Yeah, they don't.
There's an app on my phone that will tell me if there's an earthquake, but other than that, I don't care what's going on.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's part of the social culture that we've developed here. And also, I think some of it's the result of inadequate education. I think wasn't civics taken out of our classrooms. I mean, we don't have history. We have social studies, which when I look at the material that my grandchildren are looking at, is basically a conglomeration of geography, history, it's not done in chronological order so you can follow the progress. It's just thrown at them.
Well,
And and then you have this thing, which I think, this may be the ultimate downfall of our society.
It is.
So, yeah.
that's a global thing. But
Yeah.
no one has to pass a course to go on to the next grade.
Yeah, that's not good.
They promote children who can't read.
Yep.
And sorry you can't read, kid. You're going to the 4th grade. Tough.
Yeah.
Too bad.
But I have to say though that my grandkids, they attend the Middlesex North District out. They're getting, they seem to be getting pretty good education. I mean,
Because they have good parents and they do
well, they
their
work
homework.
hard. Yeah, they do their homework, and they're able to read. They're writing, things like that. But there are places that
There are children that don't go to school at all that are going to get promoted.
yeah. Well, I mean, the kids. You can't blame the kids. That's for sure. I think it's the context.
No,
in
but
which they settle.
subsidizing the single motherhood to a single mother who has 3 or 4 kids,
Can't do that, right? It's not good.
we have to rethink what we're doing here. It's not
Well, you
being
would
fair
think
to the
so.
children.
Well, the problem, John, is that there are people who have built constituencies on that and don't want to relinquish them. Okay? And it's not the people necessarily who are collecting the benefits. It's the people who are administering the benefits, the people who are orchestrating the benefits, the people who plotted out this policy with this idiot in Memorial Drive in Cambridge who's able to walk around, long record of assaults, has access, despite all the gun laws in this Commonwealth, he was not able to keep that machine gun out of that idiot's hand. So,
Dennis, we have a whole neighborhood here of these yellow buildings that have lived in
looks like East Germany.
They've lived in government housing their whole life. Their whole life, and they can have friends visit forever.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't it look like
and we have a
Iron
housing
Curtain?
we have a housing board that just looks the other way.
like I said, there's people who have vested interest in maintaining that system.
Yeah, well, my sense is that we're going for less incarceration in the 30 years that I've
That's a fact.
lived here in Mass.
That's a fact.
Well, Dennis tried to bring that up. Why was this guy having a machine gun laying down in the street, shooting at strangers, nearly killing 2 people, and a judge let him go?
Well, our organization did some work on the idea of mental health. And I don't deny the fact that that particular individual was probably suffering from mental illness. I mean, I don't dispute that. The question is, why is he out in the street? And that's the million-dollar question. We have a mental health establishment in this Commonwealth that does not believe it has any responsibility for public safety. It is purely client-based. It is purely, I don't think it's tied much to reality. And I think it's consistently making bad decisions, and it's forcing the police officers to have to deal with its mistakes. And I think there needs to be some real examination of this. And I think it began.
There's not going to be.
Well, I mean, it began. Well, you've got an
Your state.
alternative.
How many sessions has your state rep enjoyed? Down in your town, your
Well,
state
he's been
rep.
there for a long time. I mean, he.
Okay, he's part of the problem.
Well, yeah, but it's not just him. It's the
And
people
he's
that put him.
gonna get back
the people
in-
that put him there are the problem.
Just like the only guy who around here, he just pushed back. He's given up on it. Rodney Elliott, a mover and shaker. He's finally decided there's nothing can be done. The state is just. I'm not putting words in his mouth. This is my takeaway from him.
Yeah.
And it's just sad. Nothing's going to change. The solution is tell your children to move to New Hampshire.
Well, that's what's happening. I mean, half my kids are gone. I got 2 kids out of state. They're doing well. I have 2 here. I have 4 kids. 2 are out. 2 are here. It's a shame because it's going to get worse. Because when you lose talented people outside, they do not help create wealth and make things going. But you know what the problem is, John? There are people that really hate wealth. They hate the concept of wealth. They hate the concept of success.
They've never had it. They've never had
Well,
it.
and they don't want it. They want to be taken care of, and they have a political constituency here, and that constituency is a strong one.
Got 3 texts I'm going to read quickly. And the government in this city wants more federal funding for housing. How's that going to work out? Look at how the media is pushing the EV, not pushing the EV anymore. All of a sudden it's not important. Why is that? And the last text in this group is the news nowadays is being reported by individuals who make themselves part of the story. Read the headlines and
comments.
shut up.
You have very intelligent viewers.
So I was kind of disturbed because our high court here in Massachusetts ruled that armed robbery was not violent enough to hold suspects until trial. I mean, to me, armed robbery seems pretty violent. But, I mean, what's the Supreme Court Judicial
Did
Court?
they release him bail or not? He should have been released on bail.
Yeah. But I'm not sure that's working. So,
Who's appointing the judges?
the Troika.
Cliff, that's a confusing term. You realize that, don't you?
Yes, but you do know that I introduced it earlier
Cliff.
in the discussion.
If you use a Latin word and explained the Latin word 3 days ago, and you continue to use the Latin word today, the audience does not know what you're talking about. So you can
Yes.
continue to say the troika, the troika, the troika. It's not being picked up by Channel 5, 4, or 7. Dennis, have you heard the word troika before you came here today?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It has to do with the
Do you hear it on
Roman
Channel?
government.
Do you hear it on Channel 4, 5, and 7?
No, but there's
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of things. A lot of things I don't hear on.
I didn't think so. Cliff's trying to reinvent the English language.
John,
Cliff,
I explained it like about 10 minutes ago.
just kindly use the names. Thank you.
Now, I'm pushing this because it's like no King's Day.
It's not going to pick up, Cliff.
Oh, no, King's Day.
Yeah. So, what's your sense when people are going to trial, their attitude, does that influence the outcome of the trial? If they're sort of belligerent, they're more trouble than if they're more acquiescent to the process?
Oh, certainly. If you come in with a chip on your shoulder and it's a jury trial, even a judicial trial, you're not going to help yourself.
Yeah.
Not going to help yourself.
So, I'm wondering if we're moving from a high-trust society to a low-trust society. I mean, when I think of Minnesota 50 years ago, that was a high-trust society. And I don't think that's going to be a high-trust society today and tomorrow.
Hey, Cliff, can you get your buddy Howie Carr to use troika? And maybe it would get picked up then.
Well, obviously, if anybody had
If Howie uses it,
Fourth
it'll get
grade.
picked up.
exposure to a Roman history, they'd know what the Troika was.
And who would you think the troika are, Dennis?
Well, I'm just thinking there's three people, so I would imagine it would be the governor, the Senate president, and the House Speaker.
Very
Correct.
well. Very well done. I think you should talk to your friend Howie Carr and get him to promote that word, Cliff, and that'll become commonplace.
That's right, yeah.
For the 1,000 people who watch this show, I don't think it's going to get a lift.
I'm working on them. Oh, Dennis, grab that other microphone. I think you may be out of juice. Yeah, there you go.
All right. What's she gonna use?
I've got one more right
Oh,
here.
okay.
So, do you think we're becoming a low trust society?
Oh, we've been a low trust society probably since Watergate and Vietnam. We haven't had, there's people are now expect that the government is going to lie to them, so they don't really take, which is probably some of the reason why you have the apathy you do. Because, a lot of people, it's such an overwhelming idea that, I just heard, did you hear the news? It was reported, I don't know how good it was on Newsmax, and I think Fox carried it, that the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office and removed sensitive documents related to MK Ultra and the Kennedy assassination. That came out last night, and and one of the things that, of course, the Gabbard administration or her office says that did not happen, but people were believing it because it's so logical in the wake of individuals like Comey, right? And Hillary Clinton and the entire Russia hoax and what was done to Trump over the first term. I mean, who could believe these people at all? So yes, I think there's a significant problem of low trust, and if that low trust is not changed, and we don't get some people back who are consistently credible, we're already in serious trouble. We may go off the deep end.
Well, I saw something last week about micro-looting. It's a new trend among Brooklyn progressives, apparently stealing from Whole Foods. The New York Times podcast talked about Hassan Piker and Jaya Tolentino talking about taking small things from big corporations and feeling justified.
Yeah, well, have you ever read the book The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky?
No.
It's a very fascinating book, very relevant to our times. And in the book, there's three brothers, and one of the brothers gets a visit from the devil. And the devil is sort of like, the way that Dostoevsky portrays him is sort of like a Mad Hatter. He's a older fella, wearing clothes, kind of low key, and this brother is abusing him. And eventually the devil just sits there and says to him, this particular brother was big into nihilism, tearing things down. And the devil simply said to him, he says, all you have to do is just get people to stop believing in me and God, and everything else will take care of itself, right? Well, I think you see that. And there's a great book. Simon, I think his name is Simon Sebag. He wrote a book on Stalin, which I just finished. And you know who the greatest anti-communist in the world was? Who killed more communists than anybody else in the world? Joseph Stalin, the biggest single anti-communist going. And all of the people that brought about the revolution in Russia was it either October or November of 1917, all of them in the end were taken out and shot by Stalin. He killed more communists than anybody else. He wiped out the entire party. That was the original party. And there's some very interesting documentaries on YouTube about the various members. I think it's Dictator Profiles or something like that. And they discuss all these individuals who were intellectually intelligent people, and when it came to their own destruction, willingly participated in the smear of their own character because they thought it was part of the cause. So there you go. Why is that shocking? Once you leave that idea of God and the devil, you're gone. You don't have a choice.
The Chinese government starved millions of people to death so they could get farming equipment.
Yeah.
From Russia.
Yeah.
And that's just...
There are still people, though, still students who think that communism is a great idea. And, I'm not talking about Marxism. Marxism has some merit when you do an analysis of a society. But when you talk about Bolshevism, you're out of your mind. It's as simple as that. If you buy that, you're out of your mind.
For me, the most striking example of Stalin wiping everybody out was Leon Trotsky, who's in Mexico, and he gets assassinated. When was that? Late 30s, early
1948, 40s? I think it was. 46, maybe early 40s. Yeah, early 40s.
I got 4 texts I'm going to read here, Cliff.
Okay.
Unfortunately, both sides are not to be trusted. People get into politics to benefit themselves, not as citizens.
It's unfortunate, but it's too often true.
People in Massachusetts hate the wealthy, but yet... Who's okay? That's just an alarm. Sorry. But yet, we have the most successful lottery in the country. Well, that's...
Well, Bart's onto something there when he talks about hating the wealthy. They do hate the wealthy here. And I would argue that, and I'm not talking about, the superficial wealth. I'm talking about the people who have the capacity to be able to develop things and make things here, right? That's wealth, okay? If you have resources that you can bring to bear. And the fact that we hate them is a reason why we're stagnant, because they've all left here.
Continuing with the text, people in Massachusetts, okay, what did I do to this guy? Let's move him right along. Our elected officials are robbing us. They use a pen, not a weapon, just his opinion. Back to you guys, thanks.
So the microlooting is one thing. The thing that bothers me is the number of people who feel that Luigi Mangione was justified in killing that health insurance CEO.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's part of the Bolshevik cult. He believes in that stuff. And it's ironic because you're going to find most of the people that believe in it are fairly wealthy themselves. Okay, so they have some kind of axe to grind with their own identity, and they act out. But I mean, he's an individual who basically thought that he was superior to other human beings and wanted to exercise his dominance over them, and let's hope that he gets what he deserves. Yeah. Because if he doesn't, the whole place has gone mad.
Well, that judge that let this Looney Tune with the machine gun, is she going to keep her job? Of course she is.
Madness.
So, I saw, I think I'd seen this term before, but I hadn't really paid attention to it, suicidal empathy. And it came up over that wacko who threw a retired school teacher down the stairs on the subway and killed him. And it turns out that he had been aggressive towards a couple, and that a woman and a man, and the woman had a chance to turn him in and engage in the prosecution of this guy. And she, 23-year-old woman, she says she elected not to press charges, and she said, a part of me was just like, I don't want to put another black man in jail. So as a result, this black man went out a week later and killed somebody.
You know, that's a racist statement. That is what she just said was a very racist statement. She made a decision about justice based upon color. Now, in our past history, it used to work the other way, but now she's operating the other way. She denied justice because of a factor of race, and somebody paid for it. But that is just as racist as any statement that you're going to get from Selma, Alabama in 1960. It's just, and if you can't understand that, you have a serious problem yourself.
Yeah. It's scary that we're letting more and more people just do something and then let them loose.
Well, are you familiar with the natural law? The natural law, theory of natural law?
Only on the surface.
You're familiar with, it was evolved through Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and it tipped it off with Thomas Aquinas, right? And basically it posits the idea that we are all basically rational people if we want to be. And there's an inherent moral law that anybody's capable of understanding, and that is, you and I were created. We weren't the creators. And because we were created, and we can assume that everybody else was, nobody has the only potential or proper way to treat others is the way that you would like to be treated yourself, right? And there's really no moral justification for doing otherwise. That's been the foundation of morality and basically sanity in Western civilization for 2,000 years. And you know what? We're walking away from it. We're walking away from it. There are people now who believe they can make their own morality. They don't have to abide by any laws. And if those people who still believe in that do not come together and assert the control and authority of that belief, we're in chaos. We'll be in chaos. It's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that.
The Western civilization has given us a lot of freedom, and if we step away from that, we'll lose all that freedom, and we'll be back to doing what the people at the top tell us to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, freedom in the Western sense went through three particular phases. One is they used to call it the pre-modern phase, which is what we just discussed, Socrates and those people, and Aquinas. Then we got the modernists who are like, Descartes and Kant, who are telling you, well, you basically can't really understand the universe. You can understand yourself because you don't, but you really can't understand what's going on. And now we have the postmodernists, which are very strong, Foucault, Sartre, those people, and they're basically say, and basically that Nietzsche's their champion. It's whatever your will decides. You decide your own morality. You decide everything. Well, you know what? Anybody that's subscribing to that, you can't run a civilization or a society on that. So good luck. Not going to work.
So you went to the GOP convention?
Yes.
How did it go?
Long, tedious, and disorganized.
Oh, that's
so,
not good.
But the results were favorable but mixed. There were three. Obviously, the most important race was the governor's race, and that was taken overwhelmingly by Mike Minogue, who will be the champion. He was challenged by Mike Keneally and Brian Shortsleeve. One of the controversies at this convention, as you know, there's a controversy at every Republican convention. This year's controversy was the vote for the governor's race was significantly delayed. And there was a lot of speculation that the reason for that delay was that Minogue's people would leave the convention, so that one of those two, either Shortsleeve or Keneally, would get their 15% and continue to dog him through the primary. Minogue wanted a clear shot coming out of that convention. So what happened? Keneally got 15.5%. So they whittled it down enough, and it was. We got out of there. We got there at 8:00, 8:20 in the morning, and we left at about 8:30 at night. So we were there for 12 hours. People wonder why people won't participate in politics. You have people like the current Republican State Committee that basically does everything it can to discourage participation. So it's not surprising that nobody really cares about this stuff anymore.
Yeah. So I saw where the nominated lieutenant governor candidate didn't get enough signatures to get on the ballot. Looks
like she might have been swindled. Somebody who she hired had attested to her that they were all achieved. This is a common problem with signatures in races. It's happened. You and I know that before. There's others. And what happens is they'll buy a consultant. They'll hire a consultant. The consultant will go out and claim to get the signatures. And you need a significant amount of signatures to run for governor. Is it 30,000 or something like that? I'm not quite sure what it is. But they represented to her. I mean, she was a very articulate spokesman. I heard. I was very impressed with her. But somebody took her to the cleaners.
Yeah, not good.
No.
So I see where in the fall, one of the ballot initiatives will be to go to a jungle primary where everybody is on the same ballot in the primary, and the top two, regardless of party, pair off in November.
That's the old ranked choice voting. And again, there are some
I like that idea.
It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's absolutely stupid.
Well, why do we pay for party elections? No one gets elected. Why
The
does
same
this-
people get elected, but if you do this, you
No,
will
they
never
don't.
get change in this Commonwealth. There'll be no hope. There's still hope today. You might be able to get a guy like Minogue if he gets enough to take this over. You put in ranked choice, you're done. All you're doing is it's force voting for you to take a candidate and force vote. They want you to endorse that person, even though he may be a complete fool, and that's crazy. Don't buy it.
So out in California, yeah,
There you go. This is a great example why you should not do ranked choice voting. Look at California.
there are going to be 60 candidates on the ballot. 60. What are the odds that you get?
Well, their political process is so screwed up that our process is we have two primary parties, right?
Yeah.
The system's been corrupted, so now there's only one dominant party, all right? But yet, the legal provisions for allowing a second candidate to come up still exist. You do ranked choice voting, and you've killed that. That's the end of the line for Massachusetts.
I got a bunch of texts I'm going to read to you guys. What happened to the individual who worked for our government who was arrested with cocaine?
I raised that issue earlier.
I think he got his sick money, he got his sick pay,
Yeah.
and I think he terminated himself. Good morning, Dennis. Do you think we need to reopen facilities like Tewksbury for the mentally ill? That's from
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Luigi was an entitled individual who was babied as a child. His upbringing is to blame. His parents should have held accountable for his actions.
No, I would say this. I would say you're being too kind on Luigi. Luigi has a brain. He can figure things out. He deliberately decided that he wasn't going to. He thought he was superior to another human being.
Dennis,
And I think he committed a crime. That's the difference.
Sadly, I think it's time for brutal, painful execution of these criminals.
Well, I mean,
Continuing with it, I know you don't agree with it, but what we're doing is not working. With so many individuals having smartphones, how can the public be misinformed and dumb?
that's a very good question, by the way.
The judges are to blame for the problems in society. No one gets locked up anymore.
I would say that they certainly are culpable to an extent, but I just want to say the people that allow these people to get into office and make these appointments are the ones to blame.
Check out the storm clouds.
Yeah.
Holy muck.
Oh, look at that.
I think we're going to get some rain, so we'll see what happens. Dennis, I just think that it's high time that we continue, for these people, like this maniac that laid on the street with a machine gun shooting people, painful execution. Put it on pay-per-view and see how many people will pay to watch.
It wouldn't solve anything.
Oh,
First of
yeah,
all,
well-
let me tell you something with this. And you know why?
Let's give it a shot, Dennis.
I have no great love for people who commit murder, but I can tell you right now, we don't have a system that would apply that fairly under any circumstances, right? And if you happen to be a Republican in Massachusetts, you'll get to the chair faster than anybody else will. Let's be realistic, right? The system of law that we have here is not capable of being that fine
It's
tuning.
not working, Dennis.
Well, it's not because of the fact that we don't have capital punishment. There's a story in England during the Pillion reforms where they imposed capital punishment on pickpockets. And while there was a hanging going on, the pickpockets were active in the crowd, picking people's pockets.
So Dennis, what's going to work, Dennis? You poo-pooed my idea. Let's hear your idea.
I think it has to get so bad.
Well,
it has
it's
to
going
get
to
so
get
bad.
worse. So now we have to.
So what happens is I think people are going to have to come to the conclusion that they're going to have to either defend themselves or they're going to have to demand change from the people that they elect. But they don't even understand how the process works today. They've got to learn it on their own.
Not hearing a solution, Dennis.
Well,
Did Carterville make it back from Washington in time to go to the GOP convention? She's the clown in charge of the circus.
Well, Bart's following things. He's doing pretty good.
Well, the Republican Party, they eat their own young.
Well, that's done, but it's done. You understand something. That is not that's not an illogical situation, right? The people who are holding who dominate the Republican Party right now were largely supported by a PAC called the Mass Majority PAC. And you have to understand who's in that PAC. It has tremendous amounts of money. There was a fellow by the name of Visconti in Leominster who was the head of that PAC. It includes members like John Fish, who's the #1 contractor for the Democratic Party in Boston and Washington. And they contribute amounts of money so that they know that when individuals like Carla Miller or myself or somebody else decides to run for the state committee or decides to run in a primary, they can push money to the opposition that nobody else can do. And as a result of that, they maintain control of the system. They do the bidding for the Democratic Party. That's how this system in Massachusetts works, right? It's a totally corrupt system. It's not corrupted in the sense that it's illegal. You can do that, but in the sense that it misrepresents how the situation actually operates, it is sort of corrupt.
So Dennis, backing up to solving crime, your solution is just to let it get worse? Then what do we do? So now we have people...
You're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop it through executing. You can't even keep people in prison now.
I understand, Dennis. I want to know your solution.
The solution is professional policing, better judges, and incarceration with a program to get people reformed. We don't have any of that right now. We don't have a criminal justice system in the state. That's why it's out of control. We don't have one. We have a politically run...
What state has one? What state has a good...
Texas probably does. I would say you go down any of the southern states, the Midwest, they have a much better system than we do. They hold people accountable. They don't let people walk out the door without bail after they do an armed robbery. They don't allow, this state is so cynical. It's got a situation where it's talking about guns. It wants to take guns away from you. Yet this felon, who's been in numerous times, was able to walk out and he was able to buy a machine gun, right? And no one stopped him, right? So the system failed. It's a complete failure here.
Well, Eileen said earlier he brought it to one of his teleconferences with his parole officer and nobody said anything?
Well, that's madness, all right?
Well,
You're in a mad. Do you remember the movie?
There's a guy who's going to get a pension out of it.
Do you remember the movie? It's a mad world.
Yes, I do.
You're living in it.
Well, I tell the younger generation, move to New Hampshire. There's no hope here. There's no hope. Well, we have a city that is collapsing on itself, and it just says, not even sorry. Your taxes are going up. It's collapsing on itself. And the manager's taxes are going up.
Key guy, we hate wealth here. So if you hate wealth, this is what's going to happen to you.
Respectfully, the only way a Republican gets at anything is to run as a Democrat. Good point.
Means nothing.
All you're doing is... That was a text. I should have put the text up, sorry.
You're just participating in a mad system, that's all.
I watched the Corey Richards trial, the sentencing actually this week, and the way the judge articulated her probation was, I mean, her being sentenced to life without probation is you're too dangerous. You took your husband's life. This is the woman who poisoned her husband with fentanyl. And then wrote a children's book about grief. And he said, you've just proved to be too dangerous to be ever let out on parole.
Yeah.
And the way that he explained it just made so much sense.
Well,
and it's just something we're lacking here.
Right. There are still people, as I said, there are still
Dennis,
people
you
out
got to
there.
drag that mic closer to you.
Okay. There are still people who have a common sense, which I say is the fundamentally treat your neighbor the way you'd like to be treated. That's the fundamental law that makes everything work. And when people go off that, everything falls into chaos. Just remember that. Right? And isn't there another case where the woman murdered her 2 children because she didn't want her husband to have custody of them?
Dennis, you're aboard the
Yes,
Titanic.
that was just recently in Moseley, I believe,
Yeah.
and she ended up at her aunt's house in Vermont or something.
Yeah.
And It's just insanity what's happening.
Yeah, it is. It's insanity.
Well, the Commonwealth seems to be on board the Titanic. They can see the iceberg, and they're saying full speed ahead.
Well, that's one of the aspects of corruption. Is once you
Massachusetts, mad world.
Mad world, yeah, it's a madhouse. There's no question about it.
Massachusetts, though, it doesn't seem like everywhere in the country. It seems.
Well,
Definitely
if the color of your state shades blue, you can expect madness to follow.
True.
Right? Look at California; they're pretty crazy too. Chicago, I mean, these are all crazy places, insane
Dennis,
places.
let me ask you this one. Okay, what's it going to take to get people to vote? We've recently had elections where 3% of the registered voters showed up to vote. What's it going to take to get people to? And I'll tell you what'll get people to vote. You have to put on the ballot, we're going to start picking up your trash. Vote yes or no. And that'll get them to the polls.
I can't. I wish I could give you an answer, John, but I can't.
Karen won when she ran as a Democrat. Mr. Espo said he will run as a Democrat. Unfortunately, it's politics.
He's still not going to go. They're not. It's not naming your name as Democrat doesn't mean anything, because when you get in there, these people know who you are. You think, if you're going to start talking about repealing taxes, and you're going to start talking about punishing criminals or a better enforcement of the criminal justice laws, or trying to stimulate business, they know who you are. It doesn't matter what label you have. You're not going anywhere. I mean, this is it. You have to be in this system and watch it as long as Cliff and I have to see how it works. It doesn't matter. Who's ever in charge is going to maintain it. All right? Until such time as you get mad, or we all get mad collectively and say, we're not going to take it anymore. Like the guy from, what was the name of that movie? The Network, was it? Or when he got up and he said, I'm not going to take this anymore.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take
That's
this.
right.
Remember
That's what we have to be.
Great show.
It was a great show.
So, Cliff, time is running short. Anything on your hit parade you want to make sure we talk about before we run out of time?
Well, yeah, but before that, back to how do we fix it? We reform welfare, and we put a lot more people to work.
Oh, we're not going to reform welfare, Cliff.
Well, I think if I was going to pound on that, I would say, first of all, every individual has to do some soul searching here in Massachusetts, and they have to ask themselves, is this working out for me? Okay? And if it's not working out for you, then what has happened is the establishment has locked you out and doesn't really care about you any longer. And so you're not dependent on them. And this whole thing operates on dependency. I take a job, I take this, I get some benefits. So what happens? I get a contract with the state. So now they hook you, so you can't get off. Okay? So if you're not hooked, you got to start thinking that who's ever in power is not my friend and is working against me. So, and then you operate accordingly. And I don't care if it's, if somebody like Rodney Elliott wants to run again, or somebody that's going to stand up, or Carla Miller, or somebody like, you got Sam Mees who's running in another district. You've got a couple of other folks. These are the people who are independent. They have nobody owns them. Okay? So what you want to be able to do is you want to get out there and you want to be able to support people like that. Okay? And no matter whether they win or not in a particular election, you keep supporting people like that over and over and over again. And that's the only hope you have. Whether it changes or not, I don't know. But at least you're not contributing to your own destruction.
I would say, and I'm just taking a wag here, that if
Wag is a wild-ass guess.
honoristic estimate, since you have Sam
That's a good
Mead's
candidate, by
picture
the
up
way.
there.
He's a good man.
Sam's having a party tonight at 6 to 9 p.m. at the Saigon Sandwich House, 507 Dutton Street. Hope to see you over there.
I had the pleasure of campaigning with him when he ran for Congress, and I have to tell you, he's probably one of the most versatile and effective candidates, as far as a candidate is concerned, that I've ever met in Massachusetts.
Smart
He
guys.
has what it takes. He has
Smart
what it
guys.
takes.
Smart guys.
If you don't support Sam Mees, there's something wrong with you.
Go ahead, Cliff.
So if we had a turnout in November around 50% on the part of the voters, I think that would have an impact on the politicians down at Beacon Hill.
Well, just make the link between, I know there's a lot of public uproar over the lack of the audit, all right? So just go in and look at the audit and vote whoever you see in the election. If they're not incumbents, just vote either blank if you don't know them, or vote for the person that you do know. But do not just vote for the incumbent just to say you voted, all right? And that people try to get you to do that as well. So when you go to the polls, your ballot, your blank ballot is very important. If you don't like the choice, throw in a blank. In Westford, we just had a very big election. The school committee, the top school committee member got, I think, 1,400 votes. The blanks were 971. In one precinct, the blanks almost overtook one of the incumbents. The incumbent got 135, and the blanks got 100 and something. Took it.
This is what killed the voters' confidence in Massachusetts. When 72% of the citizens want an audit, but the governor and elected officials give you the middle finger, what do you do?
Well, the one thing you don't do is not go and vote, because then you're a sucker.
It's meaningless.
It doesn't, no, it's not meaningless.
You're a sucker to vote, Dennis.
That is, John, you should be ashamed of yourself for saying that. You know better than that.
You're a sucker to vote.
You know better than that.
You're a sucker to vote.
No. Then you support this system. You support the madness. You support madness.
I tell you, it's Massachusetts, the city of Lowell, is doomed. Move.
It may be doomed if people listen to what you're saying, yeah.
Move to New Hampshire.
Well, I don't think he means that. I think he means that's how people look at that. I think, if anything, having city life and all these different opinions show people how much the need for votes are and people to get out there and the importance of votes. But that's the overall outlook. If I do anything, if I vote, what will it change? You know, and that at the end of the day, especially living in Lowell, I feel like we're feeling this. Like, I was never involved in politics, and I wanted change. I'm not successful at it. But I keep chirping, and I keep talking. But, you know, sometimes the institution is so strong and set in its ways and so backed up by bigger money in the state that it does feel impossible sometimes to truly be there, make a change, and to help and to have good intentions in a system. So I kind of get, like, the thought, the mindset, what John's saying, but yeah,
you have to, if you believe in freedom, and this is a big question, if you believe in freedom, you want to protect your freedom, right? The biggest threat that you have always is your government. It's the number one tool that can take it away from you, okay? So it has to be on your mind all the time. Now, if you're indifferent, and I'm not saying that you are, Eileen, I'm just talking in general. If you're indifferent to that, then you're already on your way into a concentration camp and you just don't know it, all right?
Well,
you have to have a long-term commitment to your own freedom, and you have to make it a point to vote, and you have to be able to register your opinion as long as it's available, okay? Because eventually, if you don't show up, somebody's going to get up there and say, you know what? They don't really care about this. Why don't we just tell them what they want? And that's where we're going. So fight it. You got to fight, right? You got to fight.
I 100% agree, but some people like all the free and what they're getting right now, and
you know what? They're your enemies. All right, they're your biggest threat. People like that are your threat because they're willing to sell you out for their own well-being.
Right. I guess, yeah, that's a way of looking at it.
If you want to stay free, it's the only way of looking at it. If you want your kids to be raised in a society in which they're told what to do, what to think, that they have no opportunities, only what the state wants to give them, then you just keep not voting, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Move to New Hampshire.
Moving on, there's someone has proposed make DC square again. And
Can you tell us what that is, Cliff?
you ready?
I asked the question. I'm waiting for an answer. Yeah.
That's his and Martha's bed talk.
The
Pillow talk.
Okay, now we're ready. The act would undo the 1846 decision that removed Arlington and Alexandria from Washington, D.C., thus folding the cities back into the capital. If John put up a map of Washington, D.C., you'd see that it's three sides of a square set at an angle. It's currently about 68 square miles, well under the maximum size originated in the Constitution. Originally, it was supposed to be 10 miles by 10 miles. I like this idea a lot, but the big impact would be turn Virginia from majority Democrat to majority Republican.
There's your map, Cliff. I don't know what you're talking about, but there's your map.
Yeah, that is. Does it have the border of Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, it does. There's a red thing right here.
No.
So.
Oh, okay. It's not very clear to me. So there's three straight lines in Maryland, and then the Potomac River, and this would incorporate parts of Virginia back into Washington, D.C.
Okay. That was interesting. Back to you, Cliff. Dennis, is there anything you wanted to put out there that we didn't cover?
One thing. We do have one thing from our organization, from Maple. We have just filed legislation. It's Senate Bill ST 3826 through Senator John Cronin's office, which we tip the hat to him for his willingness to help us with this. That would require anybody that wants to be a police officer to have 60 college credits in criminal justice, police science, or a field of study that the Post Commission authorizes. So it could be a little bit broader than that. And we think this is important legislation. We think it's the most significant piece of police reform legislation since the 2020 Post Commission. And we would ask people, if you think that it, check our website, which is www.maple-online.com, and or contact your state rep and tell them that you'd support Senate Bill SD 3826. People would think that, most people think, well, don't they have this education already? No, they don't. They don't have it. And it is important for people to have police officers who are educated as to what their jobs are before they go into the profession.
Dennis, you're continuing education for cops. Is it a waste of time?
Well, it depends on when and how it's operated.
Well, do we have mandatory continuing education for the state police?
No, there's no mandatory requirements for education.
Well, that's what should happen.
This is the first step towards that, in that direction. No, you want people before they go in getting educated. You don't want them in the business, because
Dennis, you want the clowns that are in there now to know 2026 law. That's what you want.
there are people there now that will either who either know it, they know it well, or there are others who don't care about it at all.
That's right.
And we want to replace those people.
And sadly, that seems to be a majority. When you have,
So what are you telling us? This is a waste of time?
I'm telling you, you need to do both.
Well, fine.
We have to take care of the poor guys who are at a job. I'd like to do a better job, but if I do a better job, they're just going to give me more work because the goof-off is going to sleep in his cruiser.
Well, we're moving down the job to try to change that. This is important. We got to get people who know what the heck the job is in the first place. And that's not always the case, right? Police officer in democratic society is a key role. It's where the rubber meets the road as far as respect for law and in order goes. If you don't have people that know what they're doing, you're going to create a disaster, which is happening in many places right now.
Yes, we do.
So we want to change that.
I think continuing education has got to be part of this issue. We got to
Well, I'm not going to argue with you.
train the guys we have.
So Eileen,
So you oppose to this? Let me ask you a question. Are you opposed to the idea of requiring 60 credits?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But I
just wanna
also
check.
want continuing education for
I'm not arguing with you on that.
the laws are going to change.
moving on. Eileen, Monday,
Yes.
you guys passed the budget for the school with no comments? Is that what I read in Melanie's article?
Well, there were no comments because there were so many comments in meetings prior, especially last Wednesday's school committee meeting, that the superintendent needed time to visually present that where the funds were being retrieved from, and there were 3 student support specialist positions that we voted to restore at the high school level, and then it was taken out, and then so they had to re-put those in to the budget. So it was essentially just a quick meeting to approve that, and that looked decent. So there were no comments because there were hours and hours and hours of comments.
Comment from the audience, great show today. I really enjoy listening to Major Galvin's perspectives on current state of the Commonwealth. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you very much for that comment.
So Eileen, my sense is about 25% of the budget goes to teacher's salary and 75% goes elsewhere. Is that right?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Is all that other stuff really helping us educate our students?
Obviously not. Well, some things are just like a safe and secure building, and this city is hard to get. I mean, that would help us, but all these curriculums that we're adopting, like I said, more money, more problems. You know, the more money we spend, the more issues that we're having, it seems like.
Hey, Eileen, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You know, I don't know how you feel on the bill, I know, but there's been a movement to try to institute choice for schools, educational choice. And I know there's a lot of debate on it, and some people think it's going to take away from the resources of the public school system. But I often wondered, you know, when we grew up in Brockton back in the 50s and 60s.
In the Wayback Machine.
Wayback Machine. We had a very, very interesting combined system of parochial schools throughout the city and public schools. And there was a lot of thought that at the time, the fact that there was an alternative system out there actually improved and improved the public education because they wanted to stay up and stay competitive. Now that there's only one system, do you think that that's sort of been the problem of the deterioration in public education over the last few years?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, they take advantage of it, and then they get extra federal, state funding to do whatever they want. And it's not always in the best interest of our students and our demographics, especially here in Lowell.
Sorry, kids, you got to say goodbye, Cliff.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Monday, we'll talk to Eileen about M-Bio.
Okay, and I'll spend the weekend looking what MBio is.
Take care, Eileen. Good to hear from you.
Bye, Dennis. Nice chatting with you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ellie.